Welcome back. So we're now doing the timer in C sharp. There's a really, like I said, there's a really nice article done by, well, just, who's it done by? Let's just see. It was done by John on the channel, on the website Game Dev Beginner. Really nice. So it is done by this gentleman over here. So that's a really nice one. I just wanted to kind of do a video version. There's so many timers out there, but when I found this one, it just made sense. This can be a countdown, it can be a count up. It makes no difference. It's just so neat and tidy that I just really needed to share this with you. We're going to start by creating a script. So we'll do that. Let's call this clock timer, I guess. We're going to assign it to this little, all I did was create this UI element that's got a panel, which is the background, and underneath the panel there's just a text. So I just formatted it that way. We can take the formatting out. You'll see now that it'll do it anyway. And that's it. So I'm going to add the script over here. We're going to call this clock timer. I'm going to open up the script. And again, this is so simple. You can use this for doing speed runs. You can use this to check how long a player has been in the game, or how a player can check how long he's been in the game. You can use this to see if your game isn't based on stars or coins, maybe it's based on time, or your stars are based on what time you got. So you can do a lot with this, which is really, really nice. So all we need is the update. We're going to create 3 variables. First one's going to be a serialized field, and this is just going to be referencing the text that we need. Again, when you're dealing with text, you need to add a name. Wow, I didn't even potentially try to get that right. Unity engine dot UI. So we're calling the UI over here. We're going to call the text, and we're going to call this UI timer text, I guess. There we go. And in the update, we're going to say, oh wait, we'll need another variable. This one's going to be a private float, and this one's going to be let's call this timer output. So this is going to be the raw timer output. So this is what we're going to get from time.delta time, and then after that we're going to create another private float, and this one's going to be called seconds. And the next one's going to also be a private, if I could type, private float, and this one's going to be minutes. Okay, so now that we have our seconds, we have our minutes, we have our output and our text, we can go ahead and do this inside here. So first thing we need to do is use the timer output to be plus equal to time.delta time. Now I'm going to create another variable just to speed things up here. I want to duplicate. I'm going to create a serialized field, and let's call this one it's a float, and let's call this timer multiplier. So, and set this to 1 by default. So with the timer multiplier, it allows me to test this clock without having to wait real world seconds. So I'm going to multiply this value. 1 means we're going to get 1-to-1 real, like a second is a second. If I put it up to 10, it's going to be 10 times as fast, so on and so forth. So we got this value. Next, we're going to update our seconds or our minutes. Makes no difference. So let's start with our minutes. Is equal to, and what is our minutes equal to? I'm going to go mathf dot, and we're going to go floor. We're going to floor to int. So we're going to floor this value down to an int, and we're going to add 2 round brackets. It's going to ask me for what value am I flooring, and that is going to be my timer output. And for the minutes, we're going to divide that by 60. We're going to duplicate that, and we're going to change this to seconds. And timer output is going to be the percent sign. What the percent sign does is it says 60 is basically 100% of this value. So when this value reaches 60, you can make this 120, whatever it is. I'm making it 60 for a clock. Means it's going to zero itself out, and it's going to update that value. So again, I can show you what this value looks like if we make that minutes public, because that's the one that can be a little bit confusing. Let's just make minutes. The other one's pretty self-explanatory. Let's make this public just to show you. So now that we've done the minutes and all that, all we have left to do basically is combine this into something that we can read, we can see, we can we have to that we can plug into the UI text timer dot text is equal to, and we're going to go string string dot format, and we're going to format this in a way that we want this timer to look. So we're going to be formatting it in this fashion. So we're going to put quotation marks, and we're going to say, okay, first things first, I want my minutes, which is going to be 02.00. Then that, wait, sorry, that's my first variable, that's my minutes, and the next one's going to be 2.00, and then that. So that's the formatting. So that's what it's going to look like. And then we're going to go comma, and what are the variables we're putting in here? We're going to go minutes, comma, seconds. Okay, so we can try this out, but pretty much that is the entire code for the timer. We're getting the value, we're dividing by 60 so we can get it into minutes, and we're doing the 60 so we can say this timer, when it reaches 60, like it says over here, float.operator %, float left, float right. So we're comparing this to that value, and if it is, it's going to be 0. So again, best way to show you is by, let me close this. This I think is slowing my process down here. Okay, so now that we're back in here, we just need to go in here and assign the text over here, and watch the minutes as it clocks up. I'm going to leave it in real time so you can, and it's going to be clocking up in integers, so whole numbers. You can't actually see it until let's make this 100 times faster, so maybe we can get a better indication of how this works. So notice how that value is going up every time we clock over to 60. Okay, so that's it. So again, 60 and 60, simply because everything is 60 minutes in an hour, 60 seconds in a minute, so we're using 60 as the value, and that's pretty much it. Let's watch it one more time. I'm going to turn off the player so we don't have to worry about actually being able to play the game at the same time. Let's disable the player. And that is as simple as you can get in, how many lines of code did we do? 1, 2, 3, 4. I think in 4 lines of code. There we go. So what's making my timer go so fast is this multiplier down here. So if I put that to 1, the seconds will go into real-time seconds. If I make it 10 times, it will be 10 times faster. So this is how you could do an in-game timer that's based on like real-world time, but you can make it 24 minutes is equivalent to a 24-hour day, that sort of thing in real life. So you can do something like this. There you go. And that is it. Hopefully this has helped. It was a really interesting article that I found, and I couldn't have done it without it. In the past, I used to do, if the seconds is equal to 60, then reset that value. I used to do the timer by doing all that code myself, but the fact that this timer here is simply 4 lines of code that creates this timer is a work of art. It's beautiful. It's so nicely done, so nicely put together. So definitely go and use that. It keeps things so nicely and neat. But yeah, that's it. So it's a short video. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, please be safe, and hopefully this helps you guys. Cheers.